Wait a minute. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, champ.
I'm the greatest thing that ever lived.
No.
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, can't nobody be against me.
Sonny,
I shook up the world. I know God. I know the real God.
Cassius, wait a minute, Cassius. Let me ask you this now. You told me when you visited in Los Angeles you could do it in 8. Well, you thought Sonny and figured Sonny was great. How come you did it in 6 or 7? You did it in 7.
I had him going in 8. I was getting ready to take him in the 8th, as you can see. But the man stopped it just to keep from making me look so great.
I see. Now, give us that poetry on number 7.
He wanted to go to heaven, so I took him in 7.
You took him in 7.
I am the king of the world.
Hold it.
I'm pretty.
Hold it. You're not that pretty.
I'm a bad man.
Wait.
I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
Hold it. Joe,
I shook up the world.
What's up, everybody? It's your man GD Fitz back at it again with my man Kelvin K. This is the Sports Blast. We've been behind the scenes working, doing a couple of creative things, and if you heard any of our shows before on other networks, you would actually know how good we really are. This is a BGM production, and man, it's good to be back on these ones and twos, man. It feels real good. What's going on, Kelvin K?
Feels real good, man. Feels real good to be back.
Man, if you're not in tune with the world, you must not know that Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, Mama called him Clay, I call him Clay, but he is universally recognized as
the greatest of all time. Let's just call him the greatest.
He is the GOAT, man, and he went on home to glory. He said, "I'm going to go ahead and go on home to glory," and that was his alarm right there. He said, "I'm going on home, man." 74 years old, gone home on this past weekend, and this first show is dedicated to the greatest, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's been too many athletes, moreover, people that have had the kind of global impact that Muhammad Ali has had.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about political, sports, which is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in the height of Michael Jordan's fame, Michael Jackson's fame, Muhammad Ali was almost unanimously the most recognizable man on the planet.
Just remember from '96 when he had the Olympic torch, and that from the 1960s, winning the gold medal and having it being, destroyed, and to see him standing there, it was like one of the most iconic moments of all time, man.
And look, it was one that kind of got past me because when I first got word that he passed away, I went to YouTube. I started watching all the old fights and all the old clips and all the highlights. But I saw a clip that I thought was a joke, but it wasn't. And the clip was Muhammad Ali brings hostages back from Iraq.
Right. I seen that one too.
And I'm like, okay, what is this? And it shows Muhammad Ali meeting with the Iraqi officials. Mm-hmm. It shows, monuments of Saddam Hussein and, flag with Saddam's picture on and everything else. So I guess it was, obviously it was under his reign. Mm-hmm. But he went over there, signed some paperwork, met with the officials, came back with hostages. Now, for those who weren't around for Muhammad Ali, didn't live through his career, and don't know too much about him, he's the greatest boxer of all time. Most will tell you possibly the greatest athlete of all time. And he brings hostages back from Iraq. I mean, come on, man. Can you beat that?
You can't beat that right there, man. Hey, Muhammad Ali was one of the best, man. What is your favorite boxing moment from Muhammad Ali?
Ernie Terrell / Floyd Patterson. What's my name? And for those who don't know what I'm referencing, when Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali when he joined the Nation of Islam in the early 60s rather, some of his opponents refused to call him his new name, Muhammad Ali, and he took it very, very personal. And in these matches, he is just wailing on Ernie Terrell and Floyd Patterson, who's a Hall of Famer. Floyd Patterson's a
first 2-time champion.
Yeah, a multi-time champion, Hall of Famer, and he's just giving it to him, and you can see him animately during the fight. What's my name? Ba 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 ba. What's my name? Ba 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 ba. And I mean, it was just a demonstration of how talented and how dominant he was before that 3.5 year layoff, which came at the end of the decade of the 60s.
It's so funny because I'm gonna give you my moment. You know, me and you both, we fairly young, but we always been boxing historians. We always want to watch boxing and try to understand it and look at the history of it. And it's like a lot of people say that first fight with Joe Frazier is the most iconic sports moment ever, to see two undefeated champions go to war for the title in Madison Square Garden. It was like, you know, the perfect storm.
I would agree with that.
You know, and you see that one, and I watched that one. But my favorite Ali fight, and I think a lot of people will go here, is the Thriller, man. The Thriller in Manila.
Yeah.
To see pretty much 3 stages of war. It was like the beginning, Ali dominated Frazier. Yeah. It looked like Frazier was done and washed up. And then the heart of Smoking Joe to come back and say, you know what, I'm going to put all my effort in to try to beat this man, my rival. And he had Ali on the ropes, man. I mean, I really thought Ali was done. And then just see the resurgence of the greatness of Muhammad Ali to stand in there and, you know, fist of fire, just going hard against Joe Frazier. And that, to me, was like the first fight that I actually really understood watching, because I'm still fairly young in the game. And to watch that fight, you know, my father is a diehard boxing fan. Uncles, people that's been involved in boxing. If you don't know, we got a couple of guys at Upton Boxing Gym. I'm giving y'all a shout out already on the show.
Upton.
We got Upton Boxing. You got young fighters that are, you know, looking to go and succeed up in the boxing rings. But to see how he showed me that fight, and I said, dang, Ali was the man, you know. And it's crazy to see a 210, 220-pound guy, his height, with the speed of a super featherweight. It's crazy, man. Like, he can float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, man.
Yeah, that's the famous line. But I would agree with that, though, that Ali Frazier won in Madison Square Garden, in my opinion, is the greatest sporting event of all time.
It's one of the top 5.
For exactly what you said, Ali had captivated a nation, and when he was coming back on the comeback trail from the layoff, in the layoff that I'm referencing for those of you who are unfamiliar, and we're going to focus on this a little bit later, Ali had to take time away from his craft because he refused to go into the draft. He was drafted for the Vietnam War. He refused to go, and he had that layoff, and it was overruled. The decision was overruled by the Supreme Court, and he returned to the ring 3.5 years later. And I believe it was 1970. Was it 1970?
I believe that was the first one. Was in 1970. We'll make sure on it, but even still, to see the man lose his prime years, and it's kind of funny. I've talked to a couple of people over the weekend that has said that Ali was just a straight up great fighter, but he was a draft dodger. And I'm like, it was so political what was going on. To see the man fail a test that said he didn't have to go, and then all of a sudden the government lowers it, and they say, well, no, you can go now with this percentage. It kind of looked like he was being alienated and being picked out because of his fame and his brashness.
What do you mean?
So, I had to go and do my history and look on it. So when I looked at his draft status, he was I believe he was at a 1A, and at that time his percentile was that of 15%, saying that he basically did not pass the test that allowed him to become a United States Army. He couldn't get into the Army. And he admits it. He said, I never said I was the smartest person in the world. I'm the greatest fighter in the world. Never said he was the, one of the smartest. Failed the test. But all of a sudden, after they realized that he failed and they said it was okay that he failed, they came back and said, well, no, because of issues with having people go to a war that was pointless, Vietnam, they lowered the standards, and he refused to go. He said, why should I go and fight a war with people who've never shamed me or did anything to me, but I'm having that same issue over here in my own country where I can't even go into a restaurant without having to be bashed. You know, I have to go to the back room and eat. And a lot of people looked at it as a black-white thing, but I think it was more of he probably looked at his views of, I don't need to go to a war. And he's not the only one that ducked out on that kind of a war. And just from listening to it today on other sports shows and other shows that I've listened to over the past couple of days, people were going to Canada. People were going to Mexico to get away from going to that war. So, but because he was the star of stars.
Now, draft dodger. That's strong to me.
Yeah, it's very strong to me too.
That's strong to me because all the guys who couldn't find a way to get out of it,
they had to go.
They had to go.
Right.
But they chastised the guys who found a way not to go to war. Mm-hmm. And if you would have given a lot of the guys who actually went the option, hey, do you want to go to war or do you want to stay home and go to college?
They probably said, no, we're going to stay home.
Absolutely. So it's a bit hypocritical. Now, look, you're never going to
You'll never find a perfect. Yeah, you never find
Well, no, I'm just saying you're not going to get me to criticize anybody who's served their country and fight for a lot of the liberties that I have. So I'm not knocking anybody who's served, especially in a war as violent as the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. But I just find it real ironic that a lot of the people who went to war and served proudly, as they would say, if you give them an option, whether you want to go and risk death or stay home and go to college and raise a family, that they're going to choose, to risk death. I just know off of me. I commend everybody that has gone to war. I have family members who've gone to war, but just for me personally, I'm not going. I don't want to go to the war. I try to fight and protect for my country from over here. So, I'm just saying that's just me. And commend to those who do it, and if they were to come back and they say you get drafted, then that's a choice that I would have to live with. But at the same time, this man stood up for what he believed in, and he said, "I'm not going." And you got to give him credit for that, for standing up for what he believed. One thing I want to focus on, because I know if you're a sports fan and you're listening to us now, you've been listening to a lot of Ali talk the last 4 days, and one thing I want to focus on is inside the ropes. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about his global impact, about his social impact, about his national impact, because his impact here in the United States was much different than overseas. But I want to talk about inside the ropes and what made Muhammad Ali one of the best athletes, if not the best athlete by a lot of people's metric of all time.
Well, go ahead and give him to me then. You see it. Give him to me.
Well, you're talking 6'3" heavyweight.
Mm-hmm. That move like a welterweight.
Move like a welterweight, about 215, 220. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And before he had the layoff, he could float. He could dance for the majority of the fight. He could dance for 9 rounds, 10 rounds.
And remember back in his day, they used to go 15.
Yeah.
And he would go the distance if necessary. Even like we just finished talking about coming off of a layoff to come up against Oscar Bonaveda.
Yeah.
And you go 14 rounds basically in your first fight back. And it's like, hold up. You ain't supposed to do that after a 4-year layoff.
And Oscar was a contender.
Mm-hmm.
He was a top contender. You're talking about, an 80, 81 reach? Nuts. So you accompany that reach and him dancing on his toes with possibly maybe a top 3, regardless of weight class, jab, and speed of a
pure speed.
Hand speed of a welterweight, maybe that of a lower class. So, and one thing about his speed, that phantom punch, and Ali listened to, a lot of people,
punch that everybody keeps saying it really wasn't a punch.
Yeah. Now, you just referenced a fight. Mm-hmm. Ali Frazier 3.
Right.
When he hit Frazier with a right, knocked his mouthpiece clear across the ring.
Yep.
Out of the ring.
Late, I believe that was in the 13th or the 14th round.
Now, for a long time, I thought that the phantom punch wasn't legit. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it like, there's no way that he got that punch off. You're looking at Liston. He's lying on the ground, rolling on the ground. It looks like Liston wasn't hurt.
Walcott running over. They'll know what to do.
Yeah. So whether Liston was that hurt or not is debatable. Mm-hmm. But I changed my opinion on that punch when I seen the same punch in Ali Frazier 3 with that mouthpiece. He didn't wind up. It wasn't a bomb. It wasn't. But that quick pop, almost a flick of a wrist, sent Frazier's mouthpiece heading in the third row.
Yes, sir.
So that's speed.
But the thing,
and that's power without really putting your all into it.
We've always said this, though, and especially in boxing. Hand speed can always attribute to the power, a la Roy Jones, a la Floyd Mayweather in his prime when he was a younger guy. Because Floyd never had no true
before the broken hand.
Power, broken hands all the time. But that hand speed used to confuse so many people because it was like, yo, I'm getting hit with 5 punches in like less than 5 seconds, and I don't know where it's coming from. People take a knee. That's a knockout. You know, it is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But to see the power that was in Muhammad Ali's hands, you can't deny the punches. I mean, just look at the faces. Sonny Liston in the first fight.
Yeah.
And from records and from what we've understood is Sonny Liston tried to cheat and put the, and put something on the gloves, and it was like, all right, for 2-3 rounds Ali was out of it because of what happened. But once that vision came back, it went right back to the same old thing. Jab, 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 right hand over the top. Sonny Liston looked like some ground beef for real. He was beat up.
Sonny Liston, Hall of Fame.
Another Hall of Fame.
A dominant figure.
Mm-hmm. Floyd Mayweather, Hall of Fame. I think, and it's funny, I go look at, we were just talking about Ali's inspirational fights. One of his best performances that I've ever seen, and it's funny from looking over at YouTube, but I have watched a lot of Ali, is the Cleveland Williams fight.
That was tough, man. That's him in his absolute
that was
prime
him in his prime. To see him stand in front of Cleveland Williams, who was not a small guy.
Nope.
He stood there and he basically demoed on him like it was a punching bag.
And he was a top
And he
contender.
was a top contender.
With power. Cleveland Williams was chiseled, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to go in a little bit of controversy. I'm going to switch it up on you a little bit on this Ali tip, because even though I say Ali is the greatest of all time, I got a curveball for you.
Okay.
His toughest matchup, everybody always scream out, Frazier. I'm going to give you another guy, another Hall of Famer. Ken Norton Jr. Ken Norton Sr. I'm sorry, I said Jr. You know, I know football season's coming, so don't worry, you Cowboys and 49ers fans. Ken Norton Jr., we know middle linebacker, Super Bowl champ, but we talking about his daddy. Ken Norton Sr. gave Ali a lot of problems back in the day.
He did, but the only reason why I would disagree with that is because you were talking about Ali at about 34, 35 years old. And yeah, he dropped Ali. He beat Ali.
He beat him once. They had to fight 3 times.
Ali came back and avenged his loss. But Ali, it wasn't to say that Norton beat Ali. It wasn't like he didn't fight that same Ali that Cleveland Williams fought.
Right. Well, nobody did. You know.
Not at all.
I don't think nobody got to really truly see Ali, and this is what makes him so great. Nobody got to see Ali at his prime dominate a whole division. He would have cleaned the whole division out in his prime.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't even have seen George Foreman, because Foreman would have kind of been like, what's his name? Christian, what's the big white boy name that always cussing the ring when he fighting? He fought Klitschko. Areola, I think his name is. But when you know, that big dude, that was George Foreman back then. It was like, all right, I'm just big dude. I swing my arms all day. He probably wouldn't even have been in that kind of a fight, because Ali would have been the champ that would have dominated. Case in point, he dominated in prime George Foreman in Zaire in the Rumble in the Jungle.
Right. So,
you know, it's just like, hey, if that older Ali, who didn't have the speed anymore, who was more of a strategic fighter, he said, you know what, I'll lay on the ropes and rope-a-dope you and make you punch yourself out, and then I'm going to knock you out. Imagine him in his prime and his speed.
Yeah.
George probably would have been so confused, he probably pulled the Roberto Duran. No mas.
No mas.
No mas. You know, so that's the greatness of Muhammad Ali, man. Let me go to another thing on Ali real quick. The originator of a lot of things, but the originator of trash talking, man, especially in that form of boxing.
Yeah, at a time where not only trash talking wasn't prevalent in
any
sports at all,
any sport,
but at a time where black people in this country really didn't have that type of access, and it was really out of pocket for a black man to be that boisterous, to be that braggadocious, to be that loud on a national scale. And it was off-putting to a lot of people, to a lot of whites,
especially to a lot of whites.
Yeah, to a lot of whites. I mean, it made us black people. It gave us a sense of pride to see someone, accomplish the world heavyweight championship, and it meant something totally different in that day. Mm-hmm. And you didn't have 16 versions of the heavyweight championship title. The heavyweight champ meant something,
right? Because you were the guy.
Yeah, people reference you as, "Hey, champ." I mean, you became the champ. Sometimes you would lose your name. You were the champ now. So in a time where that meant something, and where civil rights was it was the issue in the country.
He was a leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a leader, and then to just see him continue to be consistent the same way throughout all those years. I mean, he had candid interviews with a lot of people who would bash him and try to knock his religion. Got guys who used to always say, "Man, are you for real?" Like, that's how you used to look at him, like, "Are you for real, man? Are you just a joke?" But he would stand by it. He'd say, "No, this is me," and he always went right back to his faith. Another issue I say on Ali is that he is one of the cause of what's going on in the new age of sports, especially surrounding the NFL with the CTE. He did suffer from Parkinson's, and a lot of people say it's because of his years of fighting. Yeah. Is he a prime candidate for what's going on in the NFL right now with the CTE?
Well, that's a very, very, very interesting point. And I think that he would be a prime candidate because actually I look at Muhammad Ali has had Parkinson's since the early 80s. Mm-hmm. Diagnosed.
And you could tell it. Yeah, you could tell. And he was still fighting early 80s against Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick. So yeah.
Now, it's clear to everyone who has followed his career that something was wrong. Mm-hmm. Whether the family would choose to do something like that, that's another issue.
I doubt that they would do that.
But long before the NFL and this concussion issue, Muhammad Ali and the condition that he suffered from was front page news for sports fans in America. Mm-hmm. His health. Should he continue fighting? Because he clearly was a different person in the ring the last couple fights that he had. Clearly his speech was a little bit more slurred than it used to be. Clearly his motor skills were off, according to reports. So he was really the poster child for, I'm struggling to come up with another way to word it, brain injuries. So it would be interesting. It would shed a whole lot of light on many issues or many questions that our fans have asked over the years, media has asked over the years about Ali and whether the punches were a direct result, whether the punches were a direct cause for the result of his Parkinson's.
Looking over years, is like he ain't the only one. I mean, we got
not.
Meldrick Taylor, we got Tommy the Hitman Hearns. Some of the all-time legends, the speech slurred.
It's really obvious, but true change can't come until you get something tangible. And CTE can't be diagnosed until a dissection of the brain after one passes away. Mm-hmm. So as much as as obvious as it is, you can't just, unless you have something hardcore, you can't make changes. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to change rules or change anything tangible unless there's hardcore evidence like that on the table.
Well, I hope that he's resting in peace and he's got that spot up there. He's probably up there rumbling right now with Smoking Joe, having a good one.
And it's funny, speaking of the brain injuries and everything, and the Parkinson's that we assume got caused by his time in the ring. Probably one of his best attributes as a boxer, his chin, caused probably his greatest
detriment
in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he didn't go down for real.
And when the hardest punch I ever seen him take was from Frazier in that first fight.
Got up in 3 seconds.
I mean, he got up immediately.
Got up in 3 seconds.
Look, I would have been put in the hospital from that punch. They would have been.
That's the old knockout. That's the old Knockout Kings 2000 haymaker. You know what I'm saying? That he got caught with, and he got right back up.
I would have been in the ICU for 3 days behind that Joe Frazier left hook, man. But he hopped up immediately.
Yeah, The heart of a champion. But since we talking about boxing, I'm gonna stay here real quick. I'm gonna go throw you a curveball on somebody. The newest star of boxing. I'm gonna talk about Canelo Alvarez and a guy that he's ducking. Cause I'm gonna say he's ducking him. And at first I was all Canelo, but I see what's going on now. He's ducking him. Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a promoter, ploy, or is this just Canelo saying, "Man, I ain't trying to fight this dude right now. I'm gonna wait till he get a little bit older."
Probably a little bit of both.
Now I do think De La Hoya. Now let's not forget De La Hoya is the promoter for my man Canelo Alvarez, but at the same time, you can't call a guy out and then within your 14-day limit of getting ready to set up the fight, you wait till the day before and then say, "Oh, he can have the belt. I'm going to go somewhere else."
Well, I don't think it was quite that cut and dry. I think that when you're talking about a big money fight like that, where there's tens of millions of dollars on the table for each boxer, it takes longer than 14 damn days to negotiate that.
Okay.
So if it wasn't in stone at the end of the 14-day period, I don't necessarily blame De La Hoya and Canelo for saying, "Look, keep the belt. The belt doesn't put any money in my pocket anyway. The belt is..."
A la Floyd, what he do?
Belts in boxing are like toilet paper. I mean, it's like Charmin. So, but what the belt does do, it adds esteem, it adds fame, it makes you more of a household name. And it does mean that you're at the top of your craft. And if you can unify the belts, then it does so even more. But keep the belt. I mean, like I said, I would rather him give up the belt and take 4 months to negotiate this fight, the right way, than to hurry up and rush. I mean, I think that was real naive for people to get upset about that one, honestly.
Well, let me go with another fight. It's kind of funny. I'm going to go to the guy who said he's retired. He's 49-0. He's considered the greatest of a decade, greatest of an era. Floyd Mayweather. I'm not going to call him junior because he said he's not junior anymore. He's money. But he's talking about trying to make some big money with a mixed martial artist.
Not going to happen.
And Conor McGregor.
Not going to happen.
One of the most prominent names over there in the UFC. Me personally, I don't think it's going to happen either. But would you pay? This is the question I got for my man Kelvin K and for my listeners out there. Would you pay to see Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather at this point in their careers?
Honestly, Conor McGregor would kill Floyd Mayweather.
In a boxing match?
Not in a boxing match.
That's what I'm talking about. Floyd ain't gonna fight him in a mixed martial art.
If it's a
mixed martial art, he'd probably break his arm in 10 seconds. But I'm talking about in a boxing match because Floyd is the leader.
I don't know if I'd pay to see it. I'd come over to your house and watch it.
Shit, I ain't paying for it. I'm gonna make sure I stream that somewhere.
Yeah, but hey man, hey, chill.
I know, right? Look, don't listen to that. GD Fitz just tripping. But look, the point is, I ain't paying to see that fight. I know they want to put the pub out there because names tend to sell tickets, but that's not something I would be interested
now look, I never really entertained this before, but let's break this down. Okay, you're talking about Conor McGregor, who's a tough dude,
right?
Tough dude. This is MMA now. This ain't boxing. This MMA. He's used to getting kicked in the head, punched in the head, keep on trucking. Does Floyd Mayweather have enough power in his hands to keep Conor McGregor off his ass?
Probably not.
Okay,
but he got enough speed, though, I think, to kind of...
That's a whole lot of speed you're going to need. Now, me looking at it now, if Floyd made the fight last, I think McGregor would get winded. Because Floyd is not going to make a mistake. He's going to stay disciplined. But let's be honest. In Floyd's last fight, he didn't look like Floyd. He was still the better fighter, but he didn't look like Floyd that we've seen for the last 10 years. Not even the last 2 years. So it'd be very, very interesting to see if McGregor came out like a ball of flames.
Well, and if Conor McGregor came out like he did against Nate Diaz, Floyd would be in trouble.
Yeah. I think so.
I personally think Floyd would be in some big time trouble if he came out like that. But the thing is, we don't know how McGregor is in the ring. He is a former boxer as well. If people don't realize it, Conor McGregor was a prominent boxer.
How big is he?
He's at the welterweight. He's around that welterweight division in UFC.
So it's a makeable fight.
It's a makeable fight. Yeah. They about the same in the way that they want to do their fight, but I don't think it's going to happen because it just don't make no sense. And then some people just go and buy tickets off a name. We've seen that before with guys in the ring, and I don't think this is going to happen because it's too much loopholes to go around from not only the Dana White situation in UFC, but who's going to take less, who's going to take more, like who's going to do
Floyd
what?
never take less.
Well,
And he shouldn't.
That's my point.
He should.
Conor might try to pull something fast, like, well, I'm the marquee name, you need me.
Well, no fight then. I made a couple $100 million in the last couple of years. Good luck with that.
I'm good all the way around.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But look, what we're going to do real quick, we're going to go out on a quick commercial break. We're going to leave you.
Money team.
This is what we're going to do with the commercial break. We're not going to go to a traditional commercial. We're going to let y'all listen to some snippets from my man Muhammad Ali. This is when he went up and won the fight against Big George Foreman out there at the Rumble in the Jungle. And then when he come off of that, we'll be right back. So stay with us. BGM style Sports Blast. My man Kelvin K, myself GD Fitz. We
Yes,
here,
sir.
baby.
It wasn't a close fight. No. Was it close before I knocked him out? No. You sucker. Wait. Is this on close? You tell. Is it live? Right now. Everybody stop talking now. Attention. I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all times when I beat Sonny Liston. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all times. Never again defeat me. Never again say that I'm going to be defeated. Never again make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Then you might get me. But I didn't dance. I didn't dance for a reason. I wanted to make him lose all his power. I kept telling him he had no punch. He couldn't hit. He's swinging like a sissy. He's missing. Let me see your box. I hadn't started dancing yet. You can't say my legs are gone. You can't say I was tired because what happened? I didn't dance from the second round on. I stayed on the ropes. When I stay on the ropes, you think I'm doing bad. But I want all boxers to put this in a page of boxing. Staying on the ropes is a beautiful thing with a heavyweight when you make him shoot his best shots and you know he's not hitting you. I would have gave George Foreman 2 rounds of steady punching because after that he was mine. But he was falling, he was missing. I don't know if I'm going to fight again or not. I'm going to retire as of now.
Tell me, what did you say to George Foreman before the fight? What did you say?
I told him he has no power in the corners and in the clinches. I said, shoot your best shot. I'm going back to the ropes. They told me he was strong. Didn't I look stronger than him?
Why didn't, tell me, Mohammed, this is the thing that puzzled people. Why was it when you were on the ropes that he could not hurt you, even when you were right there on the...
blocking, and I was pulling back, and I have a radar built inside me. I know how to judge punches. Didn't I tell all of you out there on your local radio shows, mostly black stations? I told you, I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. So that's what happened.
That's what you said to me. But tell me now, are you really going to retire, Mohammed?
I'm seriously thinking about retiring. There's nothing else for me to fight. I told her, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to hold the title for a few months. They took my title unjustly. I told you, I'm the real champion. I told you, I'm the champion of the world. All of you bow. All of my critics crawl. All of you suckers who write the Ring magazine, Boxing Illustrated, all of you suckers foul because the stage was set. You made him great. You made him a bad Joe Louis. You made him a hard puncher. But I want everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing. If you want to know any damn thing about boxing, don't go to no boxing experts in Las Vegas. Don't go to no Jimmy the Greek. Come to Muhammad Ali. I am the man.
We back. I had to let y'all listen to Muhammad one more time underneath of the sounds of BGM's Sports Blast. My man Kelvin K, myself, GD Fitz, man.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
we got a lot more we could talk about here in the sports world and the sports realm. And what's going on real hot right now is the NBA Finals.
Real hot right now.
Hey, it's so hot
right
that it
now.
might be over quick because right now, if you pay attention, the Golden State Warriors 73-9. Set the all-time regular season record. They're on pace to, basically on course to win their second straight championship. And they are considered probably the best team of all time. And it's only based off of their record.
Don't know about that.
They have the first unanimous MVP in league history and back-to-back Steph Curry.
That means nothing.
It's a regular season award, I know. But the thing with them is it's all about strength in numbers. And
there you go.
they're showing it right now in the finals. And it's not really talking about the finals because we already see what's going on. They're just dominating Cleveland. But it's more or less on the legacy of LeBron James. LeBron James, if you have been hiding under a rock, you haven't seen what's been going on, or you just don't watch NBA basketball, LeBron's been to 6 straight NBA finals. And he is right now currently 2-4 in finals. And this is, like I said, his 6 straight finals.
2-3. This would be the 4th loss.
No.
right?
Remember, he went back when he was 22, and he played against the Spurs. That was his first one.
Okay.
But he's been to 6 straight.
I thought it was 7.
This is his 7th appearance, but he's been to 6 straight.
Gotcha.
And right now, he's 2-4. And if they lose this one, he'll go down to 2-5 of his 7 appearances. And the key question that I have, and I'm going to ask Kelvin K because he is a LeBron James guy.
Proudly.
And I'm not knocking him. He's a LeBron James guy.
Proudly.
Is his legacy tainted by all of these finals losses? And just give it to me direct, straightforward, what you really feel. And then I'm gonna come in on mine.
I mean, you want me to give you the popular answer, or you don't want me to give you...
No, I want you to give me the answer that you know that you feel is the way that you want to go with LeBron, man. I mean, a lot of guys are judged off of championships, and that's all I'm saying.
Well, if I was LeBron James, I wouldn't give a damn what you thought about me. I went to 6 straight finals, 7 total. The only other guys who went to 6 straight finals all played for the Boston Celtics in the 50s/60s.
Okay.
So, I mean, Magic didn't do it. Michael didn't do it. Bird didn't do it. Wilt didn't do it. A whole lot of people didn't do it. Now, look, going 6 straight times isn't winning 6 straight times, but legacy is what it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy is what it means to you. If you know that, hey, you know, I've given it all I've got. I've given 100%. I'm the best player in the world, and I've given it all I've got. We just didn't have the horses. Then, hey, your legacy will go down as being one of the best players of all time, regardless of how many championships that you get. And I think it's funny because everybody knows I'm a LeBron fan, so I've been catching it bad all week with the Warriors winning the first game and now the second game. It's funny how you look at a player as good as Peyton Manning, who up until last year had 1 Super Bowl ring, but Manning considered to be the greatest quarterback of all time. LeBron wins a couple, goes a whole lot of times, and people try to tear this guy down so much, and I really don't understand it. I really don't understand why people... Well, I do know why. If LeBron had the same exact career, but he had a persona of a Ray Lewis, an aggressive type, a guy who was loud, a guy who was in your face, a guy who, you know, gave great speeches, people look at him differently. I'm convinced of that. But LeBron is a humble guy. He's an easy target. Mm-hmm. He's not going to strike back on social media. He's not going to come out of the press conference and say and pull a Ali, I shook up the world, all you were wrong. You know, he's not that guy. So he's a very, very easy target for critics. I think the guy has the best basketball IQ I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. One of them. I mean,
I think he's top 5 guy.
I look at the rosters that he's gone to the finals with, and what I get a lot. And see, I don't really get into.
You gonna go and you gonna take away what I'm getting ready to get with you at.
But real quick, man. It's so exaggerated. Well, people have been saying, well, this is the roster that he put together. That's so overstated. LeBron isn't the GM of the Cavs. Of course, your best player has input, just like every best player on every damn team in all major sports. Your best player has input, and LeBron probably does have a little bit more input, but it's not like LeBron's at the desk making phone calls. He's not calling up Ozzie Newsome from the Ravens. He's not calling.
I totally agree with you on that. He's not putting the teams together. However, the statements that come out and the way that things have been taking place over the last, I'm not going to say the last 13 years of his career. I'm talking about over the last 6 years of his career. Now, it's going to be a pro and a con with this whole thing. You go and you make the decision to go to Miami. You have your squad. You get guys coming down there that have not won. This is a pro. Chris Bosh didn't go to any playoffs when he was in Toronto. So he actually helped him get to that finals level of going to 4 straight finals. Because if LeBron don't come to Miami, is Chris Bosh going to the finals? Case in point, didn't they miss the playoffs the first year that he was gone?
And to be honest, Wade didn't go without LeBron or Shaq.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm getting at. Now, Dwayne Wade did go one time without him, but they got swept by Boston. So it's like...
You mean the Eastern Finals, right?
No. I'm talking about going to the playoffs in general. That's what I was getting at.
I'm talking about going to the championship.
Yeah, going to the championship. Yeah, they didn't go without Shaq.
But LeBron.
Because most people, like we always say, you have to have at least 1 or 2 stars with a star to succeed. You have to. Because most guys have done it. Even with Michael Jordan. A lot of people say Jordan is the greatest of all time. Jordan's always had Pippen when it mattered the most. Pippen is an all-time top 50 player. LeBron hasn't played with a top 50 player throughout his entire career, unlike that of Michael Jordan. And I know Jordan didn't play with Pippen the first 2 years, but I'm talking about like when it matters. When it's time to go for the gusto to go to the playoffs. Never had those guys. So to see LeBron go down here and by the social media aspect, you know, you're out there and you can see different things a lot more vague than what you could back in even 1990, let alone what's going on now. LeBron makes the statements of not 1, not 2. You want to go to 7 and you want to win 7. All right, well, this is the structure. And then as soon as a roadblock, and at that time it was the Spurs. As soon as a roadblock comes into play, I'm rolling out. I'm going to Cleveland. All right, you go to Cleveland. But
that wasn't how it played out, though. It wasn't.
Well, you tell me how it played out from the social media aspect, the way that it looked. On the surface that it looked, when your GM, Pat Riley at the time, says, step up to the challenge. Let's see if we can get this done. And then what you do a week later, I'm going to Cleveland. All right, it's easy in Cleveland because even the statement he said was...
He spent how many years in Cleveland?
4.
And they went to 4 damn championships.
I give you that.
Damn, that's not enough. He gave you 2 championships in 4 years.
Didn't I just say it?
And now it's step up to the challenge.
But wait a minute. Didn't I just say it? LeBron James ain't the normal. All right, let's go like this. Is Jimmy Butler judged off of his championships that he gets in Chicago?
No.
He's based off of what he can do production-wise, correct?
Correct.
What is LeBron based off of? Championship or bust every year since he's been in the league because they labeled him, social media, as the king of the guy that's going to take you there.
I got to call time out real quick because you've referenced this several times. And look, call me old school, but I don't live in that social media world. With social media is a fabrication of real life shit.
But I think you're taking the word out.
Yeah,
when I say social media,
none of that matters though.
But when I'm going social media, I'm not talking about a Facebook or IG. I'm talking about the media. I'm talking about those Stephen A. Smith dudes.
But don't
I'm
you
talking
understand?
about the way that they put scrutiny on you.
But even that doesn't matter. I'm trying to focus on. Look, you know the game. You've played the game a lot. So have I. We've watched a lot of basketball. I'm talking about strictly what happens on the basketball court. What Stephen A. Smith says really is inconsequential to me.
He garbage. Yeah, come on.
I mean, that doesn't matter to me. What's posted on Twitter doesn't matter to me. I'm just speaking on strictly what I see when I watch LeBron James play basketball, and what I see is a stone cold baller who can take me, you, my Aunt Lucy, and a kindergarten to the NBA Finals if we played with him. He just can't
get the championship.
He just can't get over the hump. And if you want to, and I had such a big argument with this guy, man. He said he'll never be Michael Jordan.
Well, he's not going to be Michael Jordan.
But this is what the angle was, and I've heard this from a couple times from a couple different people. Well, he'll never beat Jordan because Jordan had the killer. Jordan would have never passed the ball in the clutch. And you can't say that LeBron doesn't have the talent. Kevin Love's an all-star. Kyrie's an all-star. It's a big difference between having all-stars and all-time greats on your team. Dennis Rodman is an all-time great. Scottie Pippen is an all-time great. Phil Jackson might be the
best
greatest
coach of all
head
time.
coach of all time. And it's an argument. You got Auerbach. You got a couple other guys who are in the conversation. But he might be the best coach of all time. Kobe won all his titles with Phil Jackson, if I remember correctly.
You're right.
So last time I checked, LeBron took Eric Spoelstra to the finals. He took Mike.
Don't knock Spoelstra. I like.
Well, I
Spoelstra.
like Spoelstra, but I'm just saying. Took David Blatt to the finals, and now took Tyronn Lue in his first year of a head coach. Yeah, half a year to the NBA finals. So I'm just speaking of on the court what's happening. I don't really get into the social media. I don't get into what other guys say when it comes to this, because I know this. You know what I mean? I know boxing. Now, not to say that I know everything, of course, but I focus on the game and what happens in the game. I don't really focus on the peripheral, because a lot of guys who comment from the peripheral don't know what the hell they talking about.
Well, I say it like this, though. I mean, we going into it. I already kind of pinpoint on it a little bit. LeBron is the most scrutinized sports athlete today. Might be the most scrutinized sports athlete of all time. Has he put some of it on himself? Yes. Things like the decision. Things like the statement of not 1, not 2, but 7. Then the decisions that he consistently makes after that.
But like you said, though, and I'm gonna let you go, but while you on that point, the decision, he catch flack for the decision, but the decision generates millions of dollars to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
believe.
not a bad thing, but it looks bad on the surface.
At a pep rally, he says, well, we're not going to win 1, we're going to win 2, we're going to win 3. I mean, sometimes we just exaggerate things. Sometimes we blow things up. What are you supposed to say at a pep rally? Well, look, we're not going to win any championships.
Well,
yeah!
no, you're not going to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about by scrutiny, because they waiting for you to say something so they can use it to their advantage, and that's basically what happened.
But okay,
and he's not, and like you just said, LeBron ain't going to attack nobody. He's not going to bash anybody. He just going to play his game, and that's what it is. He's like, judge me off of what's going on the court, not judge me off of what goes outside.
I think the larger conversation is what's different about him. Like I referenced, you're talking about, okay, who's a better quarterback between Dan Marino and Terry Bradshaw?
Me personally, I say Dan Marino, but the winner was Terry Bradshaw.
But the championships have nothing to do with who the better player was, correct?
I totally agree.
So in certain instances, we don't judge who's better or who's worse on championships. Well, let's keep it to the same sport. Who's a better basketball player? Would you say Bob Cousy was a better point guard, or was John Stockton a better point guard? Well, that might be a bad comparison.
No, I would say Stockton's a better point guard.
But you get the comparison I'm trying to make. Some guys, Barkley was probably a better point guard than guys.
Power forward.
Than guys who've been on championship teams.
Yeah, would I take Barkley over Dennis Rodman? I'd probably lean towards Barkley, because Barkley can score as well as get 13 rebounds a game and play both sides of the court. But Rodman gives me the intangible that I would like to have, which is he's going to play hard defense for 48 minutes.
If you got scoring on your team already,
you don't need Barkley.
You don't want Barkley.
Right,
you want
don't
Rodman.
Need him. You want Rodman.
Because his IQ was definitely underrated.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And it's the same thing in the LeBron factor. LeBron's a walking triple-double. And like I've said already in this finals, out of the 2 games, he's come close to getting a triple-double in both games. And I've said he's playing less than ordinary. Because
not having a great series.
He's not having a great series. He's not attacking the basket like he should be. He's turned the ball over a lot. I think he has 11 turnovers over the 2 games. And that's not a good sign, especially for the team when it's structured for him to be 40, 15, and 10. Last year in the finals, they go to 6 against this team, who's basically the same team, just a year mature. And he was getting 40, 18, and 10. I need that same LeBron, but this goes into the scrutiny. We expect that from him every year. It's kind of like we expected that from Kobe. He's like, Kobe going to give you 50 points. He might not give you no assists. He might not give you no rebounds. But his 50 points is going to help the Lakers win a game. And if he didn't get you the 50 points, we say, he shoot too much. But if he gave you the 50 points and they still lose, what are you going to say? Well, he didn't get the other guy involved. But in LeBron's case, it's, he's going to the finals every year. He going to the finals. It's almost expected that you might as well punch a ticket for whatever team he goes to, a la Miami or Cleveland. He going to the finals. But they like, can he win a championship? And I'm going to come with this question. He's been to the finals, and I'm not going to talk about that first one because we all know Cleveland was not the favorite against the Spurs the very first time when he was 22 years old. But let's go off the last 6. I'm going to count them down. In 2011, who was the favorite, Dallas or Miami?
Well, I can't recall who was the favorite.
I'm gonna give it to you. It was Miami.
Yeah, in that first year,
it was Miami.
But again, I personally didn't even have them going to the finals that year because I felt
a lot of people thought the Bulls.
I felt like in their first year together,
it took time to grow.
They would have took time to grow. I mean, I think that's real. Chemistry does matter,
but the talent,
no doubt,
was better in
no
Miami.
doubt. And they went and they lost.
Then we go to next year. We go to Oklahoma City. They were the favorites to win that series. Then you go against the next series, which was the following year against the Spurs. They were the favorite because that was the year that they broke the all-time wins record in the regular season, the consecutive wins, 66 and 16 record. They were the favorites. They won that series. The next year against the Spurs, no, they were not the favorites. That was the year he left. And then last year against Golden State and this year against Golden State, no, sir, they weren't the favorites. So out of those years, he's been these 6. I'm not talking about his first one. He's 3-3 in chances of being the favorite, and he's 2-4. So it's not bad if you look at it statistically wise. But we always judge LeBron off of championships. Somebody earlier today said Jerry West is 1-9 in the finals, not taking nothing away from his greatness, but he's mediocre. How can you call a guy who's been to 10 finals mediocre? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he the leader of the finals and he go to 10 finals, you can't call him mediocre.
And really, what's a shame, Jerry West is the only player in the history of the NBA to win Finals MVP on a losing team.
And LeBron should have got it last year.
LeBron really should have been the second.
He should have got that last year.
Now, I understand why they gave it to Iguodala, but LeBron James was the best player in the finals last year by a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a farce to me that they didn't give it to him. Now, I know that Jerry West got that award in the 60s, so you're talking about a long, long time ago. But if anybody deserved it, LeBron deserved it last year because it was clearly – I mean, it wasn't a debate. If it was a debate, I can see giving it to the player who on the winning team. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a debate who the best player on the floor was in that whole entire series.
It was obvious, and I'm shocked that he didn't get it. But, you know, they don't want to give it to a losing team because they don't want to put the emphasis on him, especially with the MVP being on the other side.
Yeah, so the original question was, how does it affect his legacy?
How does it affect his legacy by not winning the championships? I think it kind of put a little bit of a smear on him. I don't know if they'll put him in. I think he's the closest comparison to him is Wilt Chamberlain, because Wilt never got there to win him either. I mean, Wilt went to the finals.
Not Jerry.
Nah, I wouldn't go Jerry. I would go Wilt because Wilt was the more dominant figure. Jerry was a baller, but Wilt was the dominant figure, and that's how LeBron is. It's like we always talk about with Shaq. Every year, Shaq could have been the MVP of the league, but they gave it to who they gave it to. LeBron could have been MVP every single year that he'd been in the league, but they give it to who they give it to.
I mean, MVP is like who has the best year. I mean,
I can't get all that too because they bias on that because they didn't do that with Jason Kidd in 2002. They gave it to Duncan.
Well, I'm not saying that, they didn't screw the vote up. I mean, they've been doing the MVP for 60 years, so I mean, they might have blew it a couple of times. But all in all, whoever has the best season gets the MVP, pretty much. I mean,
well, when you want to stay on the MVP thing, like I said, I think LeBron is one of the best. I think he's top 10 all time. Might be top 5 right now. He's still 31. He's still going.
Mark my words, he's going to wind up being a top 2 scorer and a top 3 scorer and a top 3 assist man all time. That's ridiculous.
Hey, LeBron,
we doubting how good he is.
I never said he wasn't good. I just think that his
ridiculous. His
legacy is based off of how many rings he get. Now let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
On June 6th, 2006. That's close to 666, man. The devil must be coming around. I don't know. But look, 66-16. If LeBron James don't win any more championships, is that a knock on him?
No, not at all. Because he may not. It takes a lot to win a championship. It takes chemistry. It takes, you have to catch, everything has to be perfect to win a championship. You're talking about the highest level, no injuries. Right. The proper coaching plays, that matters. Not too many, gas station managers can lead the team to the NBA Finals. No, not shout out to all my gas station managers out there.
Got Exxon.
Yeah.
BP.
But you gotta have the right thing in the mix, man. You can't just show up with talent and expect to go to the final. It takes much more than that, and that's why I didn't pick Miami to go that first year LeBron went there. Mm-hmm. You can't just come together and expect to go to the finals. Now they did, but they lost. Mm-hmm. But you need a right mix. The coaching, the players, the talent, the lack of injuries. You need a lot going on.
Well, let's say go add in a little more scrutiny.
You need to have the best team.
All right, let's go a little bit more scrutiny into it. We heard about this brotherhood, lining up, trying to meet up before they all go out. If you haven't been listening, LeBron has always said he would love to be able to play with his brothers, Melo, Paul, Wade, all on one team. The brotherhood. That's what he called it, the brotherhood. Do you, if that were to happen, already if it happens, that's a championship or bust team.
They still wouldn't beat the Warriors.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. I said, if they was to go and line that up and say, you know what, this is what we're going to do to try to win a championship, and they don't get it done, right? And they don't take care of it, and they don't get it done, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, I didn't really put too much stock in that, to be honest with you. I mean, if you're in a profession with your homeboys and, you just decide to try to come together in the same team, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, a lot of people will say, well, we can't do it on his own. He's trying to. Look, I'm just happy at the power that the players have these days. So if they decide to do something like that, it'd be entertaining. I mean,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen either. But they don't have nobody has the depth to beat the Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors are gonna have to break up in order for them to lose.
Well, Harrison Barnes a free agent. He might be gone this year.
Yeah, I've never. Well, it's not like he's the linchpin.
Hey, I mean, piece though.
No, they can win a championship without Harrison Barnes.
He's a free agent too.
Now Livingston's a free agent too. Livingston can get some money out there.
Still young, 30 years old.
Yeah, he can get some money out there. He can sign like a 4-year deal with somebody and get paid.
But he might not want to leave. That's hometown anyway. He's from out that way.
Well, let somebody throw some money in his face, see how much he likes his hometown.
Be a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a different. He might go to Sacramento. Never know. They need a point guard.
They got Rondo.
Rondo gone.
Think so?
Yeah, he gone. They already talking some other stuff. But what we going to do, because we're going to save that for later shows here on the Sports Blast on BGM Network. But what we going to do, we're going to go out, like I told you, Muhammad Ali Day. We're going to go out with him, my man Kelvin K.
Yes, sir.
GD Fitz, man. This has been fun. We back in the saddle.
First installment of the Sports Blast was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, we right back in the saddle,
BGM,
man.
Shout out, Chon.
Yeah, can't knock her. Got to give it up to Chon.
Shout out, Yanni.
Got to give it up to
What's up, Yanni?
They going to hear us out. We're going to send this over to them, and we're going to send this out to y'all so y'all can keep hearing and listening to us. So, look, we're going to give y'all this Muhammad. And remember, stay positive. That's all it's about, man. Just stay positive. This is what we like to do here. One.
Not working a small bag. You're doing a lot of shadow boxing, a lot of moving around. Is this the running you're going to be doing?
No, I don't run. I dance. Sugar Ray never did run. He danced. Dance. I told you. I float like a butterfly. I don't run. It's a different in dancing. I can knock a man up backing up.
Cassius, I heard you say a few minutes ago that you're really in good shape. Let me see you. Go up.
I'm ready. See?
That's pretty good. Now, you say you're in the best shape you've ever been?
Muscle so hard to break Superman's hand.
Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Hey!
We note that early, halfway through this first round, that Sonny is shooting mostly, although he's going to the head now, mostly toward that body. You know the old story, you kill the body and the head might follow.
Hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whip him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him, Dick. But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
This man is devastating, to say the least. These punches are not at this particular time. Tried to pull a sneaky right hand on Ali. Ali hanging on, getting away with it. Getting away with it. The left hand taken on the side of Ali's cheek. The left hook again on the side of the gloves. Right hand by Foreman was not effective. The right uppercut did bounce the head a little bit. His punches will not hurt Ali. Ali just takes him, protecting his face at all times, does Ali. Foreman throwing more punches now. Maybe this could be the tactic of Ali to let the man punch himself out. 30 seconds left in round 8. Very even fight. Ali, a sneaky right hand. Another sneaky right hand. This time he worked over the shoulder